What's going on, everybody? Back out here working on the old scratch and dent MR-2 Spyder. And as you can see, we've made a few little changes since the last time you saw me bolting the good old turbo kit onto this car. Made a few modifications. We'll just start at the top and run you down the line. First off, I got that temperature sensor out of this pipe. I actually screwed it into the bottom back part of this intercooler core, right in this area down there. I don't know, maybe you can see it. Let's see. Oh yeah, you can kind of see the end of it down there through that little hole. It's like right there. But I moved the temperature sensor to right there, which helped out quite a bit in being able to tune this thing. I also found out that the data that came with my injectors was no good. Had to do a lot of tweaking and adjusting. I'm probably going to end up having to buy a different set of injectors eventually, but hopefully for now I'll be able to make these work. I did change the routing of my fuel system. Remember how I had the fuel pressure sensor down here? Well, I moved it up the rail a little bit up to here. I took the gauge out, I put that sensor in right there, and instead I have the fuel line coming straight off the regulator, straight up into this end, through the rail, straight back to the regulator for the return. The way that I had this ran before was the way that like a stock Honda is done, where it's dead-headed to the regulator and then one single line comes up here. But that just wasn't the best, and it was causing my fuel pressure to go all over the place. So I changed that. Then I went ahead and installed a second O2 sensor, and I did that so that I would have an O2 gauge on the dash, so that I could actually see what the AFRs were doing in real time as I drove it. Added in a boost sensor, obviously, so I'd know how much boost we're making. Just a bunch of other little loose ends back here, stuff that I needed to tie up, strap down. Also added a new oil pressure sending unit to that block down here. Got all that installed. I even put the factory one back too, just in case it needed it for the VTEC triggering setup. I don't think it does, but I wasn't sure, so I just wanted to leave it in there. But yeah, got all this tucked in nice and tight down here. Moving on up here to the front, I went ahead and installed two 12-inch ultra slim fans. I even wired them into the factory, one of the sides of the factory harness. I'm guessing because I'm using all these different conversions to go from a RSX over to a MR-2 harness, that it only runs one side of the fan. I'm sure I could have made the other fan plug work, because it does have two fan plugs. I could have made that one work as well, but I just wired both fans to one plug. It works just fine, and that'll help to keep it cool when we're not moving. I also, as you probably saw in the last video, I went ahead and installed a proper line lock setup, post ABS pump. So I do still have ABS when I'm not using my line lock. I just have it set up to where when I throw the trigger, it disables the pump so it doesn't freak everything out, and then allows me to do the burnout. And then when I'm not holding down the button for the solenoids, ABS, everything works like normal. It doesn't even know they're there. So that's nice. Got that set up. Also changed how the return goes into the tank. I made this fancy setup here where it actually, I don't know if you can even see, stick you in there and you can see. You see there, there's actually a tube running down from this inside here. There's a piece of PTFE that goes down into the tank to return the fuel down right to here. Because before, remember, I had it in this back corner and the pump was actually having to fight itself to return fuel. And I saw a problem in the fuel pressure because of that too. So we were getting jumpy readings at the regulator because of the way the return was done. And then once I fixed that, I was getting jumpy readings because of the way I had the fuel rail set up. But now that I got all that set up good and a good filter put on the sensor, it now reads correctly. So I finally got the pressure to stabilize out, everything to act like it's supposed to. And I think we're about ready to start tuning on this car. it running right, I'm gonna make just a real simple, easy change and make sure that it reflects. And if this works out good, I'm gonna know that this is gonna be a valid method moving forward. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out here where it says, you know, like over 40% throttle, and I'm gonna go all the way, and I'm just gonna change all the way from, let's do from 3,500 on at that throttle. We're gonna make it, we'll just target 11.5. Now this is way too rich, obviously, especially in this area, maybe not for up here, but like for right here, probably is gonna be a little too rich, but that's fine. I just wanna make sure that it's actually gonna make this change and that it's actually gonna get close enough to that target to be able to do something. Because if it doesn't get close to that target, we're gonna have to figure something else out. I might go through here and adjust these a little bit, but I don't think so. Anything past 40%, I pretty much want it to be running at 11.5. So now that I got that change entered in there and I've got the power cycled on it, let's go ahead. I'm gonna throw you on the dash and we'll give it a run and see if it actually runs at 11.5. I think I figured out why it kept running away there. The problem comes down to the VTEC. If you go under this cam control switched, I accidentally had this table right here where it references the map pressure. I had that enabled, and because of that, it was rapidly turning it on and off. So I went ahead and just got rid of all that. I changed the well, or didn't, but I'm going to change this all the way down to 400, and that way it won't turn off quite as quickly, and we will be good to roll. Let's go ahead, turn it back around, give it another shot. I also bumped it up to where it would stay on to 9,900. So let's go ahead, we'll give it another shot and see what happens. So now that I know that it will keep pace with my target lambda that I have set, I went ahead and built out this table a little bit. Obviously, I'm gonna do a lot more refining of this, but this is a good start. This way, if it gets over like 3,500, if it gets over 3,000, it's pretty much at 11.5 all the way. If it's over, you know, what, half a pound. And then even up in this range is still 13.0. That way it doesn't get, you know, too lean on the decel. I don't want it to like just lean out all the way if I let off the gas. So that'll help with that. So we should be good to go there. Now that I got all that set up, I'm gonna come in here to my base table where we'll make all of our changes. I'm gonna go ahead and select all the cells, right? Just make sure and select every cell in the table. And then I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the cell tracing, and the way you do that is right here by hitting, where's it at? T. Turn that on. That way it'll log all the difference in the values from the way I have the fuel set to what the actual reading is on the O2. Essentially, it'll calculate the difference between our target and our output, right? And that way we will know what changes we need to make to this base table to at least get it pretty close. So until I get that right, what I did was just set this with some generic values, and I went ahead under the O2 control and turned our correction all the way up, just up to like 50%. Where's it at? There it is. I think I turned it all the way up to 50%. I don't know where it's at. It's under close the loop somewhere. But I went ahead and turned that up, and that way, there it is. So under O2 control, I turned it up to 50% either direction. That way it would just adjust for us. Let me go ahead and turn this up as well. 50%, we'll take it to 20. 20%, that way it can automatically adjust our fueling. And let's go ahead, now that we got it to stabilize, we'll make another rip and see how close we are. I think I finally got it to where it'll do a full pull. Let's see. Now that we're done with our poles here, you can see it actually shows the entire map, because I turned the tracing on, it shows the entire map in gray. And then it has these squares here with some suggested changes. We're not going to worry about these. These are down here on the low end. But all these up here we will take into account. All you have to do to change them, if you select one, see, it'll tell you how far it was off by. What the target was, what the average was, what the target was, what the error was. How much it had to add to get there. And so always make sure that the number it's going to put there is a reasonable number. If it's not, do not change it, or, you know, put your own value there. But that's how you go through and change all this stuff. So I'm going to keep refining on this and get it a little bit better. I went ahead and calibrated the speedometer. So let's go ahead. We're going to take it back out and let's launch it and do a good one and see how well all of our new changes took effect and if they actually made it run any better or not. So I did a little tweaking to the two-step, making sure that it would actually enrich the fuel while it was happening. So let's go ahead and give that a shot now. Before, it kept just running away with the AFRs, but let's see if we can actually build a little bit of boost and keep our AFRs at a normal speed, at a normal pace while we're on the two-step. Look at that. And it made a good little bit. Let's see what it makes. 85 pounds. Alright, gonna try the launch control turboed for the first time. Let's see what we got. That was insane. Actually went pretty well. AFRs didn't run away or anything like that, so I went ahead and I made some fuel changes, made it a little bit richer, and I'm just going to go ahead, turn it back around. I want to actually ride out the launch control, ride first gear all the way out, so let's just go ahead and make another pass and see what happens. Forgot to bump up the rev limiter, but that's okay. Everything else is set. I got the draggy set. We're going to do a full, I'm going to try for an 8, but at least a 330 rep. Let's see what we got. Took off like a rocket. Man. Oh, this thing is gnarly. Look at that, people. It is invalid because of the slope, as you saw. However, the important thing is 766 at 90.5 miles an hour. That is moving. With a 1960 foot, and you saw how bad it spun and danced all over the place. 1960 foot, 766 in the 8th, and that's with no burnout on the street. That's the first real time I've ever launched it and rode out first gear correctly. That is so impressive. I just cannot say enough about this beast. For, you know, a cheap budget car, I'm so happy. Hopefully we get to the track, we can run some good numbers. I don't think they're gonna let me run too much because it doesn't have a cage in it. And they are not gonna like that at all. However, I've got a cage coming, so we're gonna get that taken care of as well. But overall, just as happy as I can be with this build so far, man. Everything I hoped it could have turned out to be. We appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure and like, comment, subscribe, stay tuned, because on the next one, we're gonna be taking this sucker to the track. We appreciate y'all for watching. Y'all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you all real soon.